Tonight, the province and the Teachers Federation look at new ways to improve kids' reading skills. Speed violations in Saskatoon school zones skyrocket. And changes to the province's immigration rules leave some Ukrainians in limbo 4 years after Russia's invasion.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Tuesday, February 24th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. I'm Ethan Williams. Thank you for joining us. Experts have been saying for years that childhood literacy rates in Saskatchewan are low and that more has to be done to improve numbers. Now, the province and Teachers Federation are collaborating to try to meet those demands. Laura Sharpaletti has our top story.
A Regina mother of two says the reading and writing curriculum needs to be changed. She says modern technology is impacting reading and oral skills in young children, and teachers need as much support as possible.
Kids are just taking longer than they used to, or starting maybe further back than they used to, again, because of the way that our world has changed and the stresses and impact on parents and educators as a whole.
The most recent government data from 2 years ago shows, on average, about 2/3 of Saskatchewan students between kindergarten and grade 3 are actually reading at grade level. Anecdotally, though, the head of the Teachers Federation says it's much lower than that. She says growing class sizes, children with language barriers, and easy access to new technology are partly to blame. But the pandemic has also played a big part.
And then that really impacts kids throughout the rest of their educational years, and then obviously into their adulthood as well. So it is really concerning to see because we know that literacy is so critical to anything.
The students who are in K-3 classrooms right now certainly were in critical formation years in terms of their acquisition of oral language, of the written word as well.
Educational experts stress that ensuring children understand what they read by grade 3 is absolutely critical to their futures. And that means shifting from learning to read to reading to learn.
Understanding and students having that skill of comprehension within what they're reading is really what is going to drive their ability to be critical thinkers as they're reading in other subjects as they're getting into their secondary education or beyond.
The Ministry of Education and Teachers Federation are now teaming up to offer a new 3-day course for kindergarten to grade 3 teachers. The hope is it will give them more tools to teach kids how to read. The training sessions are set to begin in March in Regina, Saskatoon, and Prince Albert.
I think the proof was in the pudding in the fact that when we opened registration to it a couple weeks back, within 24 hours, about 240 spots across the province were instantly grabbed. And we were listed as full in that short period of time.
The province says screening literacy programs for students K-3 are coming soon. It's also looking on how to beef up literacy training for the older grades. Laura Sharpaletti, CBC News, Regina.
Regina Public Schools is planning to launch a new program dedicated to music education for elementary students. It will be run out of the former Dieppe school. The program, called the Music Center at Dieppe, effectively replaces the school division's current elementary band program and makes instrumental music education mandatory for all grade 6 students. They can then decide if they want to continue taking those classes in grades 7 and 8. The division says this will also eliminate the need for grade 6 parents to pay for their child to be in band.
We've seen the statistics on the schools that have band participation right now, and I hate to say it, there are schools with very few or almost no students, and you can guess which schools those are. Those are our core schools, our community schools. And so to have entire school populations that do not have access to even touch an instrument is not what public education stands for.
This all comes after Regina Public Schools trimmed its elementary band budget at the end of the last school year and cut nearly a third of its elementary band staff. The school division says it has no plans to boost funding at this time, and it will begin the recruiting process for the Music Center at Dieppe in the coming weeks. Speed violations detected by cameras in Saskatoon school zones soared over the last 6 years. And as Phil Tank tells us, the focus is on the busy street in front of one particular school.
Saskatoon photo radar cameras caught nearly 40,000 speeders last year. That's an almost 7-fold increase in 6 years. One camera rotates through 4 school zones in the city, but it spends the most time in front of St. Michael Community School.
People are, I guess, in a rush just to get home, to get out of here, not wait at the lights. They're impatient and stuff like that.
Not only here, but there's other places that have the cameras, and there should be more.
Even though you got a ticket?
Even though I got a ticket, yeah.
It's good, yeah, for the child safety. Yeah, for the kids' safety. It's good.
SGI helps run the photo radar program, but it declined to reveal how many tickets were issued last year or where violations were detected. Saskatoon City Council expanded school zone hours in 2022 and made them year-round. Photo radar violations nearly doubled the following year. But a Saskatoon legal advocate reminds people these tickets can be challenged.
One of the frustrations with camera tickets is that you never really interact with a person. So a police officer is never pulling you over. It's not brought to your attention at the time it allegedly happened. Often you're getting notice of the ticket weeks or months later.
Many decline to fight photo radar tickets in court because of the time and cost. But tickets can be challenged in several ways.
I've read case law where folks have received tickets months after the allegation, and they're not able to remember the incident. Therefore, they're not able to make a proper defense and answer to the case, and courts have entered stays of proceedings.
Bill Tank, CBC News, Saskatoon.
Premier Scott Moe has appeared to temper expectations about the upcoming provincial budget. Moe spoke at a luncheon hosted by Saskatoon's Business Association Tuesday, and he gave the clearest sign yet as to what the province can expect next month.
So you'll see a deficit in a couple of weeks in this province. You will also see a government that has made those very decisions not to raise taxes.
Moe says the deficit is a result of falling revenue and says other provinces are facing the same thing. The NDP has said it does not trust the government's budgeting and doesn't have high expectations for next month's budget, which will be released on March 18th. And Moe is once again joining Prime Minister Mark Carney on a trade mission. This time, Moe will be traveling with Carney as he visits India. The Premier joined the Prime Minister on a trip to China earlier this year. They depart for India on Thursday. Tuesday marks 4 years since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and some Ukrainians who found refuge in Canada are now worried about immigration program changes in this province. And with deadlines approaching, they are worried they might be forced out of the country. Helena Mahalik has that story.
Alexandra and her young daughter fled the Ukraine war 2 years ago. Her husband is still there, working the front lines as a guard.
For her, it's very hard because 2 years she don't met her father.
Alexandra says she's built a life in Saskatchewan and worries about how long she can stay. The recent changes to the Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Program have reduced the number of people in Saskatchewan who will be granted permanent residency or be able to stay on a work permit. Now she's scrambling to extend the work permit before the March 31st deadline and is running out of options.
Now I will be work with the immigration lawyer. It's very expensive, but I have only one chance, and this is
The federal government says no Ukrainians will be kicked out of the country and forced back to a war zone. It also says more opportunities have been created to help Ukrainians extend their stay in Canada. But those who advocate on behalf of displaced Ukrainians are still worried.
So they're scrambling to extend their work permits. They're scrambling to extend their passports, which is a problem that they're having with the Ukrainian government in providing those services.
So I sing at the church services.
Those who settled in Saskatchewan say they found a sense of community, like students who had to adapt and continue their education in Canada. I spoke to the Ukrainian Students Association. The group plans community events to stay connected to their home country. Nikita Sereda is Ukrainian, but lived in Canada most of his life. At age 19, he returned to Ukraine. He says the Students' Association helps him feel tied to the country he fled.
Well, the sense of community in our club is really vibrant because we have like Ukrainian Canadians, we have students that come from Ukraine, and we're all together. We're like one big family.
The Ukrainian Students' Association is hosting a campus-wide vigil on Tuesday to remember the lives lost fighting for their country. Helena Mahalik, CBC News, Saskatoon.
Well, it would have been not too bad of a day outside had it not been for the wind. It definitely added an extra chill to the air Tuesday. That chill, though, will soon be gone for some of us. Weather specialist Mickey Wolf has all the details in her forecast after the break. Canadian Airlines have resumed flights to Puerto Vallarta, but the federal government is advising caution to those visiting the Mexican city. The eruption of cartel violence there has left some Canadians wondering what to do with their travel plans. Nisha Patel has more.
Flights from Canada to Mexico are getting back on track, and many travelers are eager to take off, despite days of violence that locked down Puerto Vallarta.
I think we're feeling pretty safe about it, and we'll, keep watching the situation.
But some travelers are pivoting to other countries instead.
It's not worth the risk. Don't want to get stuck there.
Even though it seems like it's clearing up, we don't know if it will stay stable.
Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister said the situation is volatile and evolving every day. And Global Affairs is advising Canadians to avoid all non-essential travel to the parts of Mexico in orange and to exercise a high degree of caution in areas in yellow, including Cabo San Lucas, Puerto Vallarta, and Cancun. Airlines, though, are only offering flexible rebooking for the next few days.
Those folks who have March break plans coming up, that's not going to be covered, and you'd be subject to any cancellation provisions that you'd normally see.
Travelers who purchase trip insurance may have more leeway. Still, policies vary widely. And for those without insurance who want to change plans,
you're likely not going to have any recourse for getting your money back if the airlines haven't canceled the flights themselves, or if the government doesn't elevate the advisory further.
Supplies, food, water.
It's a tough decision for Cindy Redmile. The single mom is supposed to be trading the winter cold for this Cancun beach next week.
I still am concerned because everything that's happened is so fresh still. So I feel like I will wait it out a couple more days.
She worries about getting trapped at the airport and delays in making it home.
I'm 50-50. I'm on the fence about canceling because I am going with my youngest daughter and her safety is utmost importance to me.
Air Canada, WestJet, Air Transat, and Porter have all resumed scheduled flights. Air Canada and WestJet have added extra capacity to bring more people home. Flair Airlines says it will resume scheduled flights on Wednesday. Nisha Patel, CBC News, Toronto.
And weather specialist Mickey Wolf joining us now. Saskatoon really getting quite a lot of snow over the past 24 hours, Mickey.
Absolutely, Ethan. You know, it said 2 to 4 centimeters a few days ago, but we certainly saw quite a bit more snow than that. But luckily, that should be clearing up for Saskatoon and parts of the province as we get later into the week. Let's take a look at those daytime highs we saw today because things are starting to get a bit warmer, especially in the south. We've got those temperatures just above zero in the southwest corner as well. And our skies are looking a little bit clearer, definitely a lot clearer for the central region than we were seeing in the past 24 hours. We've got that high pressure system making its way out of the province overnight. And then as we get into tomorrow, we are seeing some light precipitation falling as snow across the central region and potentially for the north as well. And then we are going to see a bit more snow Thursday into overnight hours on Friday, where we'll see that clear up yet again. Here's what the snow is looking like so far. So as we get into Wednesday evening, we're just seeing potentially up to 2 centimeters for the central region. But then overnight is when we might see quite a bit more snow, especially for Wynyard, up to 8 centimeters for folks there. And then in those early morning hours Friday, we might see a few centimeters for the southwest corner. And as well in the north, we are seeing a bit more of a gradual snowfall here, up to 14 centimeters for Buffalo Narrows by the time we get into Friday. So that's a moderate snowfall for folks in that area. You will see that on the ground for sure. And then our winds as well, we are seeing some winds gusting potentially up to 60 for the southwest corner heading into later this week. But I've talked about it before and we're going to see it again here, that warm up as we head into Thursday. We've got those warmer above zero temperatures for the southwest corner before things start to cool down again Friday. As for the warm temperatures, so far we're seeing a high potentially of +5 on Thursday. That's accompanied by some winds gusting up to 40 for Regina. But again, it's not going to feel too bad with those temperatures above zero. And then things cool down a little bit over the weekend before coming back up near that 0 degree, just below 0 degree mark into Monday and Tuesday. And it's similar for Saskatoon. We're not quite seeing a +5 warm up Thursday, but we will be above zero. So I do expect we will see some melt in Saskatoon before things cool down again. Friday night is looking quite cold as well before we get into the work week where things start to moderate a little bit. So Ethan, the last of the snow, I don't think we've seen it yet for Saskatoon, but at least we've got that warm day on Thursday.
Yeah, and the cold would be tolerable if it wasn't just for that wind.
Exactly, just a little bit of wind to deal with.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, thanks, Mickey.
Thank you.
Well, a Cree grandfather and granddaughter from Saskatchewan have collaborated on a new book. He wrote it and she illustrated the pictures. And as Louise Big Eagle reports, it was all in an effort to spread Cree stories and Indigenous languages.
Solomon Rat is no stranger when it comes to writing books in his Cree language. But this time he wanted his granddaughter to illustrate his latest book.
These are stories that I had heard from my mother when I was a child before being taken away to residential school.
And he had a hidden agenda.
This was a good way of getting my granddaughter to read the stories and come to know the stories, so from my mother to me to my granddaughter.
Now he's using that very booklet to speak Cree during February's Storytelling Month. Rat said legends like Wasakichak have been passed down and are not just stories, but there's wisdom and lessons behind them.
Now, they also have philosophies on how to live, which we can all use as adults, and how to treat each other, how to raise our families, how to treat our mates. All those lessons are in the stories.
Rat's granddaughter attends art school in Saskatoon. Ayla Carpenter thought it would be a fun family project, but it became an intense process.
Like, I had to do studying, I had to read, I had to do research to make sure I did as accurate of clothing and tools as I could to pre-colonial times. And now that I'm really in the thick of it, it's been, I don't know, it's been fun. It's been enjoyable.
And it came as a surprise when she learned about her grandfather's intentions.
Not to have me become close with it, but definitely making that conscious decision with me has allowed us to grow closer, and I've learned a lot, and I've been able to share the stories with my friends even because people are always interested.
Rat said he prefers to speak Cree when sharing these stories and hopes they are shared in schools.
Let's do those cultural activities in the language. The children will eventually understand if they continue to hear this language whenever we do presentations. Children are smart, they're quick, they will learn fast.
Rat said although he's retired and has been doing this since 1984, he will continue the work in hopes the stories will be carried on for generations to come. Louise Big Eagle, CBC Indigenous, Regina.
Saskatoon's new city centre public school now has an official name. It's been given the Cree phrase Misawikisik, which roughly translates to one sky, which is what the school's English name will be. Saskatoon Public Schools says the name was chosen through community engagement and a commitment to reconciliation. The pre-kindergarten through grade 8 school is set to replace King George, Pleasant Hill, and Princess Alexandra schools. Construction started last summer and it is expected to open in the fall of 2027. Stay with us. We have more news and a final look at the forecast after the break. Regina's indoor skate park is closing its doors. Heritage Skate Park opened at the Real District in 2022, but now Real is not renewing its lease. One of the people behind the park says he's hopeful a new space will be found.
This is now 60 years old skating. Skating has been around and it's so DIY and it's always kind of driven by a small group. So something will happen. We have a lot of builds here and we're hoping to preserve those and find a new space.
The volunteer-run park will also be dissolving its board, the Regina Skateboarding Coalition. The final skate will be this Saturday afternoon, starting at 1. And a well-known water park in southeastern Saskatchewan will soon be torn down. The province has ordered the demolition of the Kenosi Super Slides in Moose Mountain Provincial Park. The outdoor water park opened in 1985, but it closed in 2020 because it no longer met health and safety standards. People began to complain about injuries, dirty water, and even dead frogs as the infrastructure aged. Demolition and cleanup is expected to be done by spring. Well, Mickey, maybe not water park weather quite yet, but this warm-up has us certainly thinking about spring and eventually summer.
Absolutely, Ethan, and I don't think we'll be seeing any frogs out there tonight hopping around in the bushes, folks. Let's take a look at these overnight lows because things would be a little bit frozen for the frogs out there. We're seeing those lows near -10. For most of the south, things are a little bit cooler as we move east, and much of the same is true for the central region. We're seeing those overnight lows near -25 for east central. And in the north, we are seeing a little bit of a cooler evening, especially in the far north. Wind chill will make things feel closer to -40 for folks in Stony Rapids. As we get into the daytime hours tomorrow, we are seeing some flurries across the Churchill region. We're just seeing potentially 2 to 4 centimeters of snowfall there. And for south and central Saskatchewan, we are seeing chances of snow for Saskatoon. It's looking pretty likely for east central as well, but a warmer day for the south. So Ethan, if you're in one of those warmer zones, it's a good time to get out and enjoy the end of February.
Maybe we can make some ice slides with all the ice out there now.
That's a perfect solution, Ethan. Great idea.
All right. Thank you, Mickey.
Thank you.
And that is our news for this Tuesday. For more news, you can always head to our website or subscribe to our YouTube channel or download the CBC News app on your smartphone or tablet. Thanks so much for watching.